Check, check, check. Wagwan, everybody. I am your Jamaican Queen, Miss Y. You are tuned into How I See It TV. And this is just a quick How I See It. I want to talk about the Real Housewives of Atlanta, um, season 16 in its entirety from my perspective. And I want to talk about Basketball Wives because I've been checking out some of the Basketball Wives clips and I have some thoughts. Yeah, I have some thoughts. I am trying to get reacclimated with going live and doing content. I think the last video that I posted to YouTube was maybe a month or two ago. It was some time ago. And I'm trying to get my energy back regarding, being on YouTube and doing content and just enjoying it again. And definitely the season finale of The Real Housewives of Atlanta and things happening on Basketball Wives has kind of re-energized me somewhat to come and just share my thoughts. So I'll start with Basketball Wives and the Jackie Christie of it all and the issues surrounding Jackie and her daughters. Now, I'll start by saying this. I don't know what the issue or the issues are between Jackie Christie and her children. I don't know. They have alluded to some things over the years. One of the daughters, she was, I guess, coming out with a book that was supposedly going to expose certain things about her childhood and how Jackie treated her. I I don't know anyone who has bought that book, who has read that book, who yeah, I don't know anybody who has bought the book. So again, it's still up in the air what the issue is. I see Jackie follows, I think Takari, that's her name. She follows her on social media. She comments on a lot of her posts. So I don't know really what the issue is with Jackie and her daughters, but let's put the past to the side for a second and let's talk about what's happening in the season, right? And in the season, you have Jackie and Chantel. That's Chantal or whatever her name is, Shani, her daughter. And something pops up between Shani and and Brandy. And after that happens, after that happens, Jackie talks. She has a one-on-one with her daughter. It was a scene where they were in the bedroom and they were talking about what transpired between Shani and Brandy. And Chantal, she tells her mom to, just stay out of it. Don't, don't get involved. There's no reason for her mom to get involved. So we fast forward and we fast forward and they're at this lounge or bar or whatever it is. And Shawnee O'Neal, she makes a comment about Brandy's attitude and how stank Brandy's attitude is. And Jackie's daughter, Shani, or whatever her name is, she decides to chime in and basically she agreed with Shani O'Neal. And Brandy tells her, you know what, stay in a child's place. And then things get heated. Things were already heated prior to that scene. And then going into that lounge scene, things just escalated, right? And My thing with that entire situation is, let me block because what is this? Okay, there you go. Now whoever that was can't comment anymore. So Jackie's sitting there and she's watching the back and forth between her daughter and Brandy. And eventually Jackie said something. She's like, listen, what we're not gonna do is call anybody a child. Her name is Shawnee. Brandy addressed her as such. You know, y'all can have your back and forth, but be respectful about it. So when Chantel and Brittany Renner goes off to the side to have, a conversation, and then they come back, and Brittany wants to check Jackie for not having her daughter's back. I thought that was weird because Brittany was not privy to the conversation that Jackie and Chantel had prior to that moment happening. And what Chantel told her mother was stay out of it. And Jackie did just that. But additionally, Jackie made it clear to Brandy, yo, this is a grown woman. Don't address her as if she's a child. So I don't know what more Chantal or whatever her name is, or Brittany Renner wanted from Jackie in the moment. And Brittany, she came at Jackie sideways, and Jackie responded in kind because you, young lady, you're going to address this other young woman's mother as if she must be drunk or something. And then you expect her to just sit there and take that disrespect. And then Shani, you too, you are all up in arms about Brandy calling you a child. But then you have your homegirl checking your mom for not, I guess, doing more. So which is it? Are you a child, Shani, that needs your mother to step in every time you're in an argument with other grown women? Or are you a grown up that can handle your business in the way that you told your mom, I can handle Brandy. You don't have to step in. I don't need you to say anything. Just leave it alone. That's what you told your mom, and that's what she did. And she did defend Shani. She did stand up for her daughter in the moment. Y'all can have your back and forth as two grown women, but Brandy, her name is such and such, address her as such and such. Don't address her as a child. So Brittany was way out of line. And for Shawnee to explode on her mom in the way that she did, as if her mother was not well within her right as a grown woman to defend herself against disrespect, is ludicrous to me. Jackie's reaction to Brittany not trying, disrespecting her, has nothing to do with Shani's or Shan or Chantel's mommy issues. Because we're dealing with the present and what was happening in the moment. And nothing that transpired between Brandy and Jackie's daughter required Brittany or anybody else to step into that mother daughter relationship or that mother daughter dynamic that's going on between Jackie and her daughter. So, in this regard, Jackie wasn't wrong. She was 100% in the right. And for her daughter to have been so offended that Brandy told her to stay in a child's place, yet the first thing she said when she was trying to check her mother was, I'm going to call dad. That was the most immature thing that I've heard from any woman on a reality TV show. Oh, my mom and another woman is getting into it because that woman disrespected my mother, but I'm not going to have my mother's back in the way that, because Jackie checked Brandy. She said, "You're going to respect her. Y'all can have your back and forth, but you're not going to address her as a child." In the same way, Chantel should have told Brittany, "Listen, don't try to check my mom. Me and my mom good. We'll have our conversation." But no, Chantal sat there and allowed her mom to be disrespected, and then wants to go on this whole campaign, sitting with Evelyn and all the rest of the women, acting as if Jackie was 100% wrong in that situation when Jackie wasn't. She wasn't. We can say a whole lot of things about Jackie, but in this particular situation, Jackie was not wrong. I'm Team Jackie on this. And another thing, Jackie's daughters need to understand that the internet, reality TV, is not family therapy. Therapy. The women on these reality TV shows, when they see that there is when they see that there are deep issues between a mother and daughter, or sister and sister, or friends, they really don't do anything to help the situation. Talking to Evelyn, talking to Evelyn about the issues that she has with her mom, Shani, what's her name? Chantel, talking to Evelyn and some of these other women about issues she has with her mom, I feel is just not productive because none of them are giving her the advice that I would give if she was talking to me. And I would say to her that I don't know what happened in your childhood or in your teen years or with you now as a woman that makes you feel the way you do about your mom, but I can't help you. And I think that if you love your mom and you want a better relationship with her, then y'all should probably think about going into family counseling. But what these women are doing is they're egging the drama on, and that is not productive. It's not productive. And it's not good for any of them. It's not good for Jackie, it's not good for Takara or Takari, and it's not good for Chantal. To have these women all up in their business and nobody is giving sound advice. Excuse me. Nobody's giving sound advice. Nobody's giving sound advice. I didn't know that Takari still felt some type of way about her mother because I see Jackie all up in her comment section all the time and they are having friendly banter. So I didn't know that there was still issues there. For me, it feels like Chantel came on the show to embarrass her mom. She took the. I feel like Jackie was the one that presented Chantel with this opportunity. Like, hey, you want to come on the show? You want to make some money? Because what does Chantel do? I don't follow her on social media. I don't know what she got going on apart from being a wife and a mother of two. What does she have going on? Maybe her mom said, "Listen, I can't. You can't be a married woman, and me and your dad, we're still out here supporting your life financially. You got a husband. You're not working. How about you come on the show, make a quick coin, filming for 3 months, and then you can save and do whatever you want with that money." And maybe she has resentment because she feels like you're my mom and that's my dad, and you're probably telling my dad not to give me money. Like I feel like the resentment that Chantal has, it cannot be because of childhood stuff. Because as let Takari tell it, Chantal was the favorite daughter. Jackie might be an overbearing mom, and then Brittany calling Jackie a deadbeat mother when again the eldest daughter calls Chantel the favorite daughter. So you're not gonna tell me that a young woman who was given everything, who was given everything, would call her mom a deadbeat. And Brittany was projecting a whole lot of things onto Jackie, projecting her mommy issues and her deadbeat mommy issues onto Jackie when Jackie didn't even do anything wrong in the moment. So that's where I'm gonna leave that. I feel like Shani needs not come back to this show for another season. And if they truly desire healing in that family, then they need to go to counseling. Jackie and her daughters need to get into counseling and fix whatever issues, whatever the underlying issues are, they need to go fix that. And reality TV is not the place to do that. Let me jump into Real Housewives of Atlanta. And I'm going to start with saying that when Shamia was introduced as a housewife, that first episode, we saw her having her party. She was saying that she was the glue, all of that stuff. I was hyped. I was excited. I was like, yes, this is what we want from the Real Housewives of Atlanta. Similar to the women of Real Housewives of Miami and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills. We want to see some wealth. And Shamia definitely brings the wealth factor. But honestly, I was excited about her song, Baby, you're home, kick that. Like, I liked that song. I was hyping it up on my social media. I was talking about it. So I was excited for Shamia to be a part of the Real Housewives of Atlanta, no longer as a friend of but as a peach holder, because I felt like there was a lot that she could bring as a housewife. But as I continued to watch the season, I just felt like Shamia fell flat. I felt like she fell flat. I 100% believe that Shamia has held on to certain resentment towards Portia. She resents Portia for not coming to her wedding. She's mad at Portia still for sitting on the show and having a conversation with Phaedra, saying that oh Shamia was messing around with Candy and Todd, and that's okay. But that happened what 7, 8 years ago, and since then we have seen y'all about the place. You were in Portia's wedding, right? We have seen them go out on double dates while Portia was married. Even before Portia met Simon, we were still seeing Portia and Shamia all about the place. And when Portia and Shamia had that sit down, and Portia said, we have talked about these things. I thought we were past these things. It's weird to me that you're bringing it up to other people in a way that makes it seem like we still have an issue. And I don't want to do this with you on the show, Shania. So let's not do it. That's what Portia was saying. She's like, I value our friendship enough where I don't want this to be the dynamic of our friendship moving forward. And so I don't know. Britt claiming that Shamia showed her text messages between herself and Portia. I mean, Portia confirmed that what Britt claimed Shamia shared with her was actually things that not Shamia, things that Portia and her therapist were talking about that she was sharing with her friend. How would Britt know this? How would Britt have this private information if it wasn't shown to her? It's okay to have resentment towards somebody. It's okay to still be angry with somebody, but it's either you're going to work it out, either you're going to work it out, or you're going to stop being friends with the person. And if you are frolicking around with this person, making them feel like y'all have moved past that rocky point in your friendship, then don't wait until you get this platform that is Real Housewives of Atlanta, where now you're a peach holder and now, you know, you can tell your story in a big way. Don't wait until this moment now to want to embarrass your supposed friend with feelings that you've had from the past that y'all have talked about. It just doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Hey, Miss Cece, you said Shamia be lying. I don't know. Something is not connecting for me when it comes to Shamia. I don't know what it is. Even with Brit, even with her and Brit having that conversation last night, and well, let's start here because I didn't even cover this at the time that it happened. But when they were in Grenada, so I watched the episode and then I watched the after show. And during the after show, deals that Shamia took her out to lunch and they had a private conversation where Shamia said, girl, you need to show up better than you did. You need to donate more. And that was a private conversation. And Brit Edie actually donated money. So she gave them the two rolls of toilet paper, but she still gave additional funds. So now we get to Grenada. You already have this private off camera lunch conversation where you tell her you're disappointed in what she donated and that she needed to give more. She gave you more. And then you passive aggressively bring up, we can't be girls who are wearing designer and pulling up in RRs and not giving back. And and Brit Edie clocked it. Oh, you're throwing shade at me. Shamia was being passive aggressive. And I do feel the reason why Shamia decided in that moment to come at Britt like that was because she wanted to have Kelly's back because Kelly at that point in time was already talking negatively about Britt regarding the whole stylist situation. So remember, Shamia had no clothes because her luggage got lost. So she was borrowing clothes from Portia, and at some point, her and Kelly were twins in bathing suits and stuff. So I feel like when Shamia went to Kelly's room and was rummaging through, the clothes that the stylist brought, started to talk about, how she felt about Britt and the whole stylist situation. Kelly put, 40 on 10, made Britt seem like she's just this freeloader and not that we're friends. And the agreement was that you can use my stylist, and now I feel some type of way because, girl, you look better than me and everything that you put on. That's what Kelly's issue was. It was envy. It was envy. And so she's given Shamia the lowdown in my mind. That's how I see it. She was giving Shamia the lowdown on Brit and the stylist situation and the team situation. And Shamia decided that, oh, I'm going to come at Brit on behalf of Kelly. But she was passive aggressive. And then when Brit clocked it, she tried to gaslight. So of course Brit Edie was gonna get her lick back. So now she has an audience with Portia, and she's telling Portia, "Girl, Shamia is not your friend. She hates you. And this is me adding more words to the conversation. Shamia hates you, girl. She's acting like y'all are still cool, but behind your back, she's talking madish about you to the point where she is revealing text messages between the two of you. So now Cynthia tells Shamia this little tea because Cynthia was there to hear it. And Shamia goes to confront Britt, and Britt's like, "Girl, you did tell me these things. You are talking about Portia behind her back." And Shamia did not deny it, in my opinion. She deflected. She started to call Britt Edie all kinds of pill poppers and 304s. And Britt said, "Yeah, I used to strip. I used to take my clothes off. I used to do the cam girl thing. So what? Stop deflecting. You are talking negatively about your friend behind her back. You did show me text messages. Now, I'll say this. It's sad that baby Shiloh had to be thrown into the argument, but I was over there on Twitter and I saw the video of Shamia and Kelly in Miami after the Grenada trip. So it leads me back to the question that Britt Edie actually asked. And it's, Shamia, you got a call on the last night of the Grenada trip, or not the last night, yeah, no, not, it wasn't even the last night. I think she had another day or so in Grenada that Shiloh was sick, da 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 da. And the way they edited the show was that Shamia left Grenada and immediately went to Atlanta. But the reality was that you left Grenada and went to Miami to party. So it looks bad, Shamia. And what I would love for Shamia to answer is, her mom was taking care of Shiloh, the fever went down, all of that. So was it that, everybody told her, you know what, Shamia, you need a break. You're always with the kids, you're always taking care of Shiloh, blah, 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 blah. You know, your friend said they're spending another day in they're gonna spend the day in Miami. Take that day, unwind, because Real Housewives is work. It's work. you know, that's what it is. Filming is work. So to get a day where you're off camera, there's no call time, there's no arguing with anybody, you can let your hair down, you can hang out with your friends, you can take a shot, you don't have to be filtered because the camera is on you, you don't want to say the wrong thing, you don't want to do the wrong thing. I get it. They probably said, girl, have a fun day in Miami. Shiloh is okay, Shia is okay, and everything's fine. Maybe that's what that was. And Shamia, you don't have to explain that to Brit. You don't have to explain that to any of us. But it looks bad because the edit told us a story that you left Grenada, went straight to Atlanta, and when you got back from Grenada, you were sick and you gave your daughter strep throat or something like that, right? You had strep throat and that, caused the baby to be sick or whatever. That's the story that was told. Not you left Grenada, took a stop in Miami for a day, and then when you got back to Miami, you know, the baby was sick because you had something. So that's what's making it look bad. And I feel like Brit, for the past two episodes, and I've seen other people say this online, for the past two episodes, Brit has been clocked in and she has been reading these girls down. Brit, you should have gone to the reunion because the way Kelly's stylist is airing her out, it's proven my point that Kelly was jealous and envious. She told Britt that she could use the team, but when Britt started looking better than her, she didn't want Britt to use the stylist anymore, and so she made a big hoopla about it. to other people before she even talked to Brit, right? And then with this whole Shamia stopped in Miami and not, because I looked at the flight plan for 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 flights from Grenada to Atlanta. There are no direct flights from Grenada to Atlanta. You have to stop in Miami. But that stopover is like an hour or two. So not enough for you to book a hotel, put on, vacation additional vacation clothes, sitting around and taking shots. I'm just saying, like, I want to be that person. But Britt brought up a valid point, and I get that it's because the daughter was mentioned why people are like, oh my God, Britt is such a horrible person. But if you put it into accurate context, it's like, well, wait a minute. The show said that Shamia left Grenada and went straight to Atlanta. Not she took a whole day and partied in Miami. So if the story that they wanted us to to believe was Shamia was just, so distraught and so sad and so worried about her baby that she was so happy to leave Grenada and go straight home, because that's the story they told us, then what is this Miami stuff about? What is this Miami stuff about? I just have questions. I agree. All Shamia had to say was she had so much on her, she needed some mommy time. Yeah, and I agree with that because filming the show is work. You're clocked in, you're on the clock, you're on the contract, and you're working. It's not this. It's vacation. Yes, you're to be on vacation, but it's still a different type of vibe because you got camera crews and mics and all these people following you around, and you still have to be a little bit filtered. When you're on vacation with your girls, you're not filtered. You're letting loose. So she needed that day, and I've heard reality stars testing. Okay. I've heard reality talk about the filming process for these shows and how they are filming for, 8, 10, 12 hours straight. So we could understand if and Shamia to date hasn't really, since that episode has aired, Shamia hasn't said a word about that Miami trip. And people are posting the videos that her and Kelly posted from that day that they spent in Miami after the Grenada trip. So I'm just saying it just doesn't look good. Now, I'm gonna wrap this up with the whole Angela thing. I like Angela. I feel like she was definitely the MVP of the season. She brought a lot, but I just don't believe that Phaedra was the one who put this guy Marcus up to come into Kelly's event to spill tea about Charles cheating or allegedly cheating on Angela. For one, it doesn't make sense. Angela has had beef with Shamia, right? She had a whole argument with Shamia. She had a whole argument with Britt. She had a whole argument with Portia. She also had an argument with Kelly, right? We did not see Phaedra and Angela interact in a way that would make anybody feel like there was beef between them or there was any tension between them at all. Now, people bring up, oh, Phaedra is such a liar and she's so fake and phony and da 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 da. But when you really assess Phaedra and the supposed lies that she's told over, spanning those years that she was on the Real Housewives of Atlanta or the time she spent on Married to Medicine, I don't, I don't, I wouldn't agree that she's just this pathological liar that everybody's making her out to be. So sure, she told some untruth when it came to the due date of her baby. Whatever her reasons were, that was a lie, right? The second thing people point out is, oh, she lied on Candy. But we never saw, neither did we ever hear Phaedra tell Portia anything. Even during that season 9 reunion, Phaedra did not deny and she didn't confirm that she told Portia the things that Portia claimed Phaedra told her. Phaedra just sat there and she just took the punches. So I get it, people bring that up, but let's say for argument's sake, Phaedra definitely did tell Portia that lie, and Portia ran with it and repeated it, right? It was wrong, but at the least it made sense because at the time, Phaedra and Candy were at odds. They had issues. Phaedra and Angela had no issues. Phaedra filmed for like 5 seconds. She was on the Grenada trip. They had a good time. They didn't argue. Yes, she said
All right. Are y'all hearing me? Okay, I see it moving, so I'm just gonna assume. My thing is, and this is why I was like Angela is that Phaedra came on to film for. Then why would Phaedra go out of her way to it just doesn't make sense. I could see if they had beef. I could see if they were arguing that entire trip. I could see if to her face, Phaedra was coming for Angela, coming for Angela. I don't count the shady things that Phaedra said while she was in the car talking to Portia and the other girls as her check as her coming for Angela. I don't count it as that because then by that standard, we would have to say that all the other girls that Angela had bigger issues with during the season, then they would be first in line as suspects for setting this dude Marcus up to come to Kelly's event, right? So I don't know. It just doesn't make sense. I get it. People consider Phaedra to be just this big liar and this big phony person. But if the plot doesn't make sense, you still just gotta say it's just not adding up. What would the reason be? When Phaedra was coming for Kenya, she had a reason. Kenya was flirting with Apollo. Phaedra had a reason. When she was coming for Candy, it's because she had a reason. She felt like Candy was her friend, and Candy and Todd were, I don't know, helping Apollo out with something or whatever during divorce. Phaedra didn't feel like Candy had her back during the divorce. She didn't feel like Candy was a good friend. At a point, Phaedra was going through a divorce. Her and Nene became better friends. So her and Candy were going through it. So her coming for Candy would make sense. But this Angela of it all, it just so I feel like agreeing with Portia, even though I like Angela, that this is a scheme that Angela set up to come to us with the BS. And then this guy, Marcus, he is online retweeting and liking tweets where people are saying that it just doesn't make sense. It seems like this is all something that Angela set up. It seems like Angela set up the guy to, like, that's what people are saying on Twitter. And this guy Marcus is retweeting and liking these comments. He's calling Angela a whole liar. And he did a podcast with one of his friends where they talked about that whole scene at Kelly's waffle event. And this guy, Marcus, is saying that he's been in Angela's DM for months trying to get her attention regarding the whole Char situation. Phaedra wasn't thinking about the Real Housewives of Atlanta for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks while Atlanta was filming. She was over there on Married to Medicine. Something happened and she headed on home in a private jet and landed in a contract for the Real Housewife of Atlanta. But Marcus is saying for a couple months he was trying to get Angela's attention in the DMs to tell her that Charles was coming to a restaurant that he works at with some woman, and he says that they have the restaurant footage, and if Angela continues to lie he's going to release it. He's saying on Twitter that Phaedra had nothing to do with it. I feel like if Angela set this up, she sat on Carlos King's podcast and said, you know, when she heard that Phaedra was coming to the show, she just felt like Phaedra was going to come for her. So could it be that because she felt like Phaedra was going to come for her, she put a plan in motion that just in case Phaedra did come for her, she would have this ammunition in her pocket to make it seem like Phaedra is just up to no good because Phaedra is like an easy target in that regard. Everybody feels like Phaedra is just this downright low down dirty woman. So what's one more thing to add to the list of bad things that Phaedra has done? And everybody's going to believe Angela because people are still up in arms about season 9, Real Housewives of Atlanta, and the whole Dungeon Gate. So who do we believe? People are saying, oh, Phaedra was just making faces when Angela was talking to her. For me, Angela came off the most rehearsed during that whole confrontation between her and Phaedra. Usually, Angela is like quick and you can tell that it's coming off the top of her head. But when she was confronting Phaedra, when she was revealing that Phaedra was the person, she came off so rehearsed. And that was the first time I ever looked at Angela as being rehearsed this entire season. And people are saying, Phaedra, if I was Phaedra, I would have been, defending myself, I would be saying more. But sometimes when you're in shock, sometimes when you are in shock, you really don't know what to say. You really don't know what to do because you're thinking to yourself, wait, what? What's happening? And I think that's what was going through Phaedra's mind. Like, this is it's crazy. I don't even know what to say to this. And then people are like, well, when Phaedra brought up the foreclosure, that made me know that that she sent that guy for Angela. And I'm like, this is reality TV. Giselle and Robin have said that people have sent them countless amount of DMs with information about fellow housewives. Karen Huger has said that people have DM'd her things about her fellow castmates. Even Portia on the after show said people be DMing them stuff about everybody on the cast. And even though you're not in conflict with some of the people, you still have the information in your back pocket just in case somebody comes for you. So Phaedra, knowing that the house was in foreclosure, and to me, because she was in shock and couldn't come up with a better read, she was like, "Girl, you're trying to expose, but you're not exposing that your house is in foreclosure." Basically, Phaedra was like, "It seems to me like you're trying to deflect from the real that's happening in your life, and you're trying to hang me out to dry, make me the scapegoat in some plot that somebody else set up because you don't really want to tell the truth about what's happening in your life." But I wish that Phaedra had worded it that way. But I think it was the shock. I think it was the shock. I would be shocked too. Like, girl, what? I've just been here for 5 seconds. What you mean I'm handing over envelopes? And then the reason why it came off so rehearsed, it was Angela sitting down like she's in a soap opera, or she was in Gossip Girl or something. And she's like, first, Kelly, I thought it was you. And then Brit, I thought it was you. And then it just seemed so fake and so rehearsed. And then the guy comes and he sits down. Drew is walking with him hand in hand. This big reveal, oh, somebody's here and he's going to tell us who the person was. I'm like, what is all of this for? This is so random. And he sits and he's like, well, the person who gave me the information was Phaedra. You know that she's the godmother or the godfather of Atlanta. She runs Atlanta. And that alone made me know this man is lying. The godfather of Atlanta. Phaedra runs Atlanta. That don't make no sense. It just doesn't make sense. And when things don't add up for me, I keep going over. I keep mulling it over in my brain, over and over and over. What I would want to know what Phaedra's motivation would have been to come for Angela in and Charles in this way. What would be her motivation? Her and Angela had no beef. And the thing is, if Phaedra was going to do this to secure her spot for the next season, then she'd have had to do it more blatantly where everybody would know that it was her. So to do it secretly or whatever, like that would have had that I don't that wouldn't benefit her. So it just doesn't make sense. And I hope eventually the whole truth will come out. Some people are given grace. Some people are given grace and some are not. It's weird to see all the stunning for some over others. Yeah. That guy is a whole mess. I wish he wasn't allowed on set. He's beyond thirsty. And of course the producers had to have okayed that. I like Angela. I like Angela, but that doesn't absolve me of critical thinking in events she's involved in. Yeah, it just, and I will continue to say that too. Like, I actually like Angela. She's quick with it, she's smart, she is wealthy, she's married to an NBA superstar, of his time. So that makes her a great housewife. And I get that people just don't see it for Phaedra, but come on, if it's not making sense, then something's wrong here. Something's wrong. I personally thought Kelly set it up, but then I had to take that back and think to myself, like at the point in time when they were at that event, Kelly and Angela had no beef. They had no real beef, right? Maybe Brit. I could see Brit doing it because I don't know if at the time of Kelly's event, if Britt and Angela had come to, but no, because when Angela went to Britt's bare and naked event, I felt like they called a truce. So it's like it's just not adding up. Angela and Portia had made up. Angela and Shamia had made up, and her and Phaedra just did not interact in that kind of way that would make me feel like, oh, they had so much conflict that Phaedra had to come for her. So yeah, it's not making sense. I think all housewives check out their cast. They be them. Exactly. Even if you're coming in for 5 seconds, you're gonna check out the competition. You're going to assess, you know what? Maybe she's the one that's going to come for me. Just like Angela said, she felt like Phaedra was going to come for her. And she has private investigators at her disposal, clearly. So, because even her bringing up, did you bring your kids to visit their dad and stuff like that? I felt like that was nasty. And I like Angela, but what does Phaedra bringing, at the time when Apollo was locked up, what does that have to do with anything that we're talking about? That also didn't make sense. That was the dumbest comment. The entire Angela versus Phaedra mess seemed like overacting. Yeah, it was overacting on Angela's part and on Marcus's part. I think production gave them a storyline to run with. Hey, Glam. Oh my gosh. I have been out the loop for so long, but I'm back. At least for today. But yeah, those are my thoughts on Real Housewives of Atlanta, honestly. I just don't Phaedra has a lot of flaws, but I just don't believe that she was the one who put that guy up to it. I think that guy seems thirsty enough where, and this is what I also think based on some text messages that the guy released on Twitter. I feel like when he and Drew and Angela sat down for lunch at that restaurant, I feel like they came up with this plot where Angela said, let's use Phaedra as the scapegoat. We're gonna pay you some, allegedly, and in my opinion, we're gonna give you a little coin, because the guy said that it was supposed to be a 20 episode season, and we need to ask Angela why they didn't get 20 episodes. And he shared some text messages where it was between him and Drew. And when he arrived at the Oakley Foundation event, well, before he arrived at the Oakley Foundation event, he was texting back and forth with Drew, because word on the street is he's actually Drew's friend. And he was texting with Drew, and he's like, okay, I'm going to come to the event and y'all just need to have my back. And I'm like, baby, if you're coming in this event to drop this bomb and it's a truth bomb, then nobody needs to have your back because you're coming with receipts. People only need to plot and plan to have each other's back when they know they're coming in with some lies. That's my opinion. So I think that, and now Angela is saying how she's going to. He tweeted something last night about Angela needing to tell the whole truth and nothing but the truth, and then she said responded to his comment under somebody else's post and said, Marcus, see you in court. So I'm like, if y'all are in this together where you invited him to your husband's event to come out somebody, why do y'all need to go to court? Like, what's happening? What are we actually going to court for? It can't be for defamation because he already cleared that, you know, supposedly cleared it up that it was a lie that Phaedra told him to say. So who did he defame? Like, or is the defamation in him calling you a liar now on social media? Or is it him releasing these private text messages and audio recordings? What are we taking him to court for, Angela? So I like Angela, but something just seems super, super fishy. It seems super, super fishy in this. And I feel like Phaedra was their perfect scapegoat. They know that nobody likes her. They know that everybody feels like Phaedra is a liar. Phaedra is phony. Everybody is gonna jump on the bandwagon and say Phaedra definitely did it because remember what she did to Candy, without ever thinking for a second. Wait, Phaedra and Candy were actually beefing. So Phaedra coming at Candy like that, even though it was wrong, makes sense because they were at odds. Phaedra coming at Kenya makes sense because they were at odds. Phaedra lying about her due date makes sense because that girl is from the South. Her mama a pastor. She was trying to be a good Christian woman. She didn't want anybody to know that she got pregnant out of wedlock, and she didn't know how to make up a better story. But this pathological liar mess, I'm like, can somebody tell me some of the other lies Phaedra told? Because I can't remember any other lie outside of the Candy situation, and we never saw her. We never saw Phaedra say it. We never heard her say it. The only thing we know is Portia turned to Phaedra and said, "But you told me, Phaedra, why would you tell me that?" And Phaedra ain't said nothing. She didn't say a word to that. She just let Portia have the moment. But we never heard Phaedra say to anybody during that season, Candy got a Smex dungeon and wants to throw Portia in. We never heard her say it. And when she did the Jason Lee interview on Sunday, they talked about not breaking the fourth wall and that she couldn't break the fourth wall, but there's a lot to that whole thing. And people have always said that Carlos King was behind that whole mess that season. I mean, let's put two and two together. After that season, he was gone. And Candy coming out and saying, "Oh, it wasn't Carlos," doesn't mean that it wasn't him. She wants to believe that it's Phaedra so badly that even if it was somebody else, I don't think Candy would be open enough to even believe it. And I think at this juncture, Phaedra is just so over that whole situation that she doesn't want to relive it. She doesn't want to air anybody out. She wants to remain in Bravo's good graces. So she just took that L. She was benched for 7 years and now she's back and she's happy to be back. And Andy says she ain't going nowhere. So I guess all's well that ends well for Phaedra. And that information that I just stated regarding Carlos, that is strictly my opinion. It's not based in any facts. I'm just out here speculating. Okay. Um word on the street is gone. Word on the street is also he was invited. Yes, I listened to the podcast. He said it. He said Kelly's publicist reached out to him and invited him, and Kelly was right there, coincidentally taking shots with him when he made that toast. Out of all the guests at that function, she was right next to him when he was making that toast. I feel like production has a hand in it. I do. I feel like Kelly has a hand in it. I don't know. I feel like I don't know. I just don't feel like Phaedra had anything to do with it. Her first pregnancy due date was a miss. People are also hanging their hats on hating who I don't like. I've heard some of the things that she said about that situation. I don't know what's true or not. Apollo, you know, did his bid and now he's out. So, there's that. All right, we're on 1 hour. I think this was a good run for my first day back. Thank you, Miss Cece. Thank you, Glamrox, for hopping in the yard and chatting with me. I appreciate it. Thanks to everybody that passed through. Thanks to everybody who's gonna catch the replay. And until my next video, walk. Oh wait, see, I'm so not used to this anymore. Remember, you can follow me on Instagram and Twitter now called X at How I See It and on TikTok at How I See It TV. And until my next video or my next live, walk good. Bye.